We now move from sound energy to heat energy. Heat is a form of energy, but it can't be measured. It is contained in the random motion of molecules and the potential energy between molecules. It can only be measured when it transfers. So it is called energy in transit. However, we can measure temperature, which measures the degree of hotness or coldness. So this lecture focuses on heat versus temperature, and it is very vital that you understand the difference. Temperature, for example, can be raised not just by supplying heat, but also by performing mechanical work, like when you rub your palms, they become warm. So the direction of heat flow is controlled by the degree of hotness, that is temperature difference, not by who contains more heat or less heat. So heat versus temperature is the focus. Welcome to the portals of real learning. Don't skip and listen carefully right till the end. So we have completed sound. That was one form of energy. So we are now getting into heat energy, and after that, we'll get into light energy and electric energy and magnetic energy. So heat is a very interesting chapter. We are going to talk about heat as a form of energy and how things expand when heated up and contract when cooling. What is the meaning of heat and temperature scales, and how is the heat transferred from one body to the other? Heat is a form of energy. You see here we are burning the wood. The chemical energy stored in the wood is being converted into heat energy, and that transfers to the oven, and the food in the oven gets hot. We have this electrical heater where we pass a current through the coil, and the coil becomes red hot and it gives us the heat. So we are converting some form of energy into heat energy. But actually, we can produce heat by doing work also. If we rub our palms, then our palms get warm. Where is heat being supplied as such? There's no heat being directly supplied, yet the palms become warm. That is because we are doing work against friction, and the work that is done against friction converts into heat. If you use your bicycle pump to inflate your bicycle tires, the pump gets hot as well for the same reason. So heat is generated by supply of energy in some form. There's a conversion, there's a transformation of energy from some form into heat energy. That is one method. And the other is simply doing work. And that also establishes that heat is a form of energy. When you do work, it transfers energy to the other body. We have learned that earlier. Now, where is the heat energy really? If you look at a glass of water at rest, there is no kinetic energy of the whole water, there is no kinetic energy. And even potential energy can be taken to be zero if you define that particular level at which that glass is resting, that level to be zero. So there's no energy as such, there's no mechanical energy. But if you look at it microscopically, then these molecules are in random motion. And that kinetic energy of that random motion is a part of the internal energy of the system. Also, molecules attract each other with a force, and when there's such a force, there's also a concept of potential energy. So, while the entire water is at rest and there's no kinetic energy or potential energy, but microscopically, there is a lot of energy. And heat energy relates to that internal energy. We call it thermal energy. Heat is a thermal energy of molecules, kinetic and potential. Kinetic energy itself, due to translation or rotation or vibration of the molecules, and potential energy due to the molecular attraction. So there is this internal energy, and heat energy is related to internal energy. It's not exactly the same as internal energy. We define this internal energy term more closely in the chapter of thermodynamics, which you learn in 11th standard. But heat is related to that internal energy. When we supply heat energy, we supply thermal energy, which then translates into higher kinetic energy of the bodies, of the molecules, or higher potential energy of the molecules. That is thermal energy. Now, when we supply heat to a body, it becomes hotter. We know that. If we take out heat from a body, it becomes colder. Like you put something in the refrigerator, it becomes colder. We are taking out heat from a body. This hot or cold, the degree of hotness is measured by another quantity called temperature. So what is the relationship between heat and temperature? Let us understand this process of heat transfer. There's a hot body, there's a cold body. If you bring them in contact, that is, provide a way, a path, so that heat can travel, energy can transfer, then heat will flow from the hot to the cold body spontaneously. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to do any work. And we say a hot body has got more internal energy than a cold one. Energy is transferred. Up to when is it transferred? How much energy will get transferred? Who decides how much energy will be transferred? And when does the process stop? Or will it keep going on and on? Well, that's what we need to understand. Now, we can't exactly measure the amount of heat energy inside a body. That's a very important concept. We know the concept of thermal energy, but how much exactly energy is stored as heat energy inside the body, we can't measure it. We can measure only when heat transfers from one body to the other. So we actually call heat energy as the energy in transit. That we can measure. How much heat energy moved from one body to the other. That we can measure. Why do we feel things as hot or cold? You touch something, you feel it is hot. You touch something, you feel it is cold. Let us understand that process. So we have three glasses containing water. One is very hot, one is very cold, one is tepid. Put your right hand in the hot water, put your left hand in the cold water, right, for some time, and then put both your hands in the tepid water. The right hand will say that this water is cold, and the left hand will say that this water is hot. For the same tepid water, the two hands are saying two different things. Why is that? The tepid water appears cold to the right one because the right hand was coming from the hot water, and you are bringing a hot body in contact with the colder body. So heat will transfer from the hot body to the cold body. Heat is leaving the right hand and going into the water. That is why you feel it is cold. On the other hand, as far the left hand is concerned, it was sitting in the cold water. Now you're dipping it into the warm water. So now heat flows into the left hand, and therefore you feel that water is hot. Heat always flows from a hot body to cold body spontaneously. The reverse doesn't happen spontaneously. That is, heat flowing from cold body to a hot body. It can be done, but not spontaneously. We need to do some work. I can give you an analogy. You drop a stone, it falls spontaneously. But to raise it back to the same height, it can't go spontaneously. Somebody has to lift it. And in that lifting, he has to perform some work. So again, heat is a form of energy that flows. It is energy in transit. It is the energy of random motion and potential energy of the molecules. For a long, long time, heat was not even recognized as a form of energy. It was seen as something that we need to supply in order to raise the degree of hotness of that body. The old unit was called calorie. One calorie was defined as the amount of that something called heat, which was required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. What is temperature? We'll learn. What is the centigrade? We'll learn. It is basically a temperature scale. We'll learn about temperature quite a lot. But now we know that heat is a form of energy, and therefore the unit of energy is joules. There is a conversion factor between calorie and joules. One calorie is 4.186 joules, or we approximate it to 4.2 joules. In CGS system, the unit of energy is erg, and conversion between joule and erg is 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power 7 ergs. Heat and temperature. We have a kettle containing 1 kilogram of water, and the water is boiling. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade or 100 degrees Celsius. On the other hand, we have a red hot poker whose mass is rather small, 50 grams only, but its temperature is very high, 460 degrees centigrade. We say that the water has got more heat but lesser temperature. The red hot poker has got less heat but more temperature. Heat is related to the total internal energy of the system. More the mass, more the heat energy. Now, this water is 1 kg, so it has got more heat, although it has got a lower degree of hotness. Temperature is called the degree of hotness measured on some scale. And in fact, if you put this red hot poker into the water, then the heat will flow from the poker to the water, not the reverse. Not the reverse. Why? Because it will flow from a hotter body to a colder body. So the definition of hotter and colder then becomes the temperature of that body, not the amount of heat contained. Since the mass of the red hot poker is much smaller, the amount of heat contained in it is smaller, but yet the heat flows from someone who has got less heat to someone who has got more heat. The direction of heat transfer does not depend on the quantity of heat contained in the body, but on the degree of hotness, which is measured by temperature. So, while heat refers to the total internal energy, temperature is related to the average kinetic energy of a molecule. So, when we supply heat energy, the temperature rises because kinetic energy rises. However, two bodies with the same quantity of heat may not have the same temperature. And vice versa, we can make a similar statement. Temperature is one of the most important quantities to understand. It is also one of the seven fundamental quantities like mass, length, time, etc. And the SI unit is called Kelvin, written as K, not centigrade. So we just call it degree of hotness for now, but we are going to develop this concept further. So, as I said, temperature relates to the average kinetic energy of molecules. On the other hand, heat is a form of energy that is transferred between two or more systems or between a system and its surrounding. And that transfer happens if there is no thermal equilibrium. So, what is thermal equilibrium? We will define this in a moment. Heat is energy in transit and it can only be measured as such. That is the amount of heat energy that transited. That is what we can measure. Whereas temperature is that property which decides the state of thermal equilibrium of one system with another. So now let me state what is thermal equilibrium. Two bodies are said to be in thermal equilibrium if there's no heat transfer between them. That means same temperatures. Heat flows due to the temperature difference. When you bring a hot body in contact with a cold body, the hot body loses heat, the cold body gains heat. The temperature of the hot body reduces, the temperature of the cold body increases. Ultimately, they arrive at a common temperature. When they arrive at the common temperature, then we say they are in thermal equilibrium and no further heat transfer will happen. Okay. So heat travels due to a temperature difference and stops to travel when the temperatures are equalized. So here we have a hot object and there's a conductor that allows the heat to transfer and heat will go to this cold object. And this will go on and on until the temperatures of the two bodies are equalized. That means they reach a state of thermal equilibrium. So there's a hot body at 100 degrees centigrade and the colder body at 25 degrees centigrade. If we provide a path, the heat will flow in that direction. Heat flows from hot to cold It flows due to the temperature difference, not heat difference. It flows due to the temperature difference. Heat stops to flow when temperatures are equalized. Thus, we say that when the temperatures are equalized, we say they are in thermal equilibrium. And the equilibrium temperature will be something in between 100 and 25. That is obvious. Since it is losing heat, its temperature will drop. Since it is gaining heat, its temperature will increase. So the equilibrium temperature will be something in between 100 and 25. So we can qualify temperature further by saying it's a quantity that tells us the thermal state of the body, degree of hotness or coldness, and temperature is that property which decides or determines the direction of heat flow between two bodies at different temperatures. And the point is this: two bodies at the same temperature, not necessary that they will have the same amount of heat, because heat depends on the mass and the type of material. And if you give the same amount of heat to two bodies which are different, say I give 100 joules of heat to a copper ball and to an iron ball, the rise in temperature of each is not going to be the same. That shows also the distinction between heat and temperature. Who decides how much the temperature should rise? That is decided by another quantity called heat capacity, and we are going to understand that term also. So, therefore, if I have this situation, the equilibrium temperature, say T, will not be equal to 100 plus 25 by 2. It won't be. Well, it may be if the heat capacities are the same, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it's not necessary that temperature, equilibrium temperature, should be the average of the two. Not necessary. So let's conclude this session by summarizing the difference between heat and temperature. Heat is a form of energy that is obtained due to the random motion of molecules and the attractive forces between molecules, whereas temperature is a quantity that decides the direction of heat flow, and it is also called degree of hotness. SI unit of heat is joules, SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. Amount of heat contained in a body depends on the mass, material, and of course temperature. When you give some heat, then the temperature rises. So temperature is a factor to be considered. However, we can only measure the amount of heat when it transits. Now, temperature of a body depends on the average kinetic energy of the molecules. The amount of heat that transits is measured by the principle of calorimetry, whereas temperature is measured by an instrument called the thermometer. That you must have seen. If you have fever, then you measure your temperature with your thermometer. Two bodies with the same quantity of heat may have different temperatures. Similarly, two bodies at the same temperature may differ in the quantity of heat contained in them. Heat is an additive quantity, it is energy. So you can perform mathematical calculations, but temperature is not additive, meaning, just think about this. I have a body at 100 degrees, another body at 50 degrees. I bring them in contact. You can't say the equilibrium temperature will be 100 plus 50. It will be somewhere between 100 and 50. And we can't even say that it will be 100 plus 50 by 2. Not necessary that it will be like that. It can be, but not always. Right? So those are the very, very important distinctions between heat and temperature. So in the next session, we are going to learn about temperature scales, Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale, and absolute scale called Kelvin.